This is Void's Motives here. This is going to be part 2 of What If Belle Was a Necromancer. So, in the last part, let's see. In the last part, Belle's sister Alice, along with the help of some mercenaries and the other guys, that being sorcerers and dark paladins, she was able to take over in a fairly large village. And well, for the evilest organization. While meanwhile, Bel learned that Odin had sent 300 troops, basically 300 troops, that being like guardsmen, some paladins, some high paladins, priests, and 2 high priests, to go ahead and try to kill him. And well, with superior strategy, Bel was able to take care of them. And now he's bolstered his forces, because, well, he basically... sorry about that, guys. My mother came into the room. So, anyways, with the leave off. So, basically, in the last video I said that Bale had gotten about that his knights basically went up to... crap, what I want to say it. So basically, he has 100. He has 20 longbowmen and 20 crossbowmen. Then he also has 80 knights. 60 of them being on horseback, while 20 of them were having like great weapons, being like great swords, battle axes, and all that other crap. And they were on the ground. They didn't have any horses. And then he also had a further 100 guardsmen. And also he had, 30 paladins, like undead regular paladins. Or well, they're not... so like, they're not paladins anymore. So, just because I said that they were paladins in the last 2 episodes, I'm just gonna call them paladins here again. So basically 30 undead paladins, 10 high undead paladins. That is, no, he has 30 high paladins, 50 regular paladins, along with, okay, crap. So sorry about that, guys. I'm a bit, how do you say it, tired currently, so I forgot about. So he has 30 paladins, undead paladins. He has, I believe, 15 high level paladins, and then he has 6 dark paladins. Okay, congratulations. And well, he basically now has the 3 villages around that one castle which he currently owns. So yeah, although now he's also piqued the attention of basically every single god in like the area, so yeah. And well, but also his army basically currently has like about 240 troops, I believe. So let's just say that Bel leaves basically all of his guardsmen at the castle, along with the 20 longbowmen. And well, just so he left 120 of his 260 troops, that is 240 troops at the castle. So with the other 120 troops, he goes ahead and basically goes to the different dungeons. He starts killing orcs, but then he also goes ahead and, how do you say it? He goes ahead and gets several golems. And you guys might be wondering, how does he basically make golems into undead? Because like golems aren't living beings. Well, basically the magic crystal, which all monsters have, basically Bel corrupts it with curses and dark magic. So yeah, now Bel also has 10 golems. Although they're not like the large golems, they're like the, what do you call it? The smaller ones, which are like basically, they're more powerful than an average paladin. So yeah. And well, the main reason why he needed them was to start making mines. And well, after he took care of those 10, golems, he goes ahead and starts killing orcs. So yeah, it eventually, because like currently his max cap of troops he can control is about 500. And well, he simply does it. He kills about 160 orcs. So currently his total number of troops is 400 and I think there's 410. With basically half of them being orcs and the other half being humans and then the 10 in the middle being golems. So yeah. And eventually Bel starts upgrading all of his troops. So he upgrades about 50 of his guardsmen, which he left at the castle, into longbowmen. So yeah, he leaves 70 longbowmen at the castle, along with the other 50 guardsmen, which basically, out of the 50 guardsmen, he upgrades 10 of them into knights, and then he also leaves one dark paladin there to be like the, what do you call it? Basically the boss, because dark paladins have some degree of intelligence, although they still follow Bel's orders absolutely, so yeah. And in the meantime, the 10 golems basically start making mines. And well, with Bel using the rest of his human soldiers and basically dispersing them. Except the actually even the paladins, except the other 5 dark paladins, which are basically like his private bodyguards. And so, with the 120 orcs he currently has under his possession, he starts upgrading them, basically into orc warriors, and then, yeah. And then he gets a further 50 orcs, and well, he upgrades those orcs. Instead of being into orc warriors, he basically makes them into orc archers. And basically, orcs are about... it's like they're stronger than humans. Well, the average orc is stronger than the average human, although a level 1 adventurer is stronger than a... Well, actually no, a level 1 orc is still stronger than a level 1 adventurer, although the level 1 adventurer can also use magic if he's lucky, so yeah. But basically he creates 40 of the orcs into orc bowmen. That is... Actually no, I'm gonna have the... Actually yeah, for now orc bowmen. So he has 40 orc bowmen and then he has 160 orc warriors. So now his army is basically split in half. With also, his army is currently 480 strong. So yeah. And well, that's when he basically waits on a trade route. You guys might be wondering why. And well, he lets quite a few of them pass by, except one. The caravan, which was coming from the dwarven kingdom of... Let's just say the dwarven kingdom of Ironclad. Yes, the kingdom of Ironclad, that sounds good. And basically, there's about like 20 dwarves guarding it, and it has like 5 carts, which are basically filled with, basically, how do you say it, dwarven steel, weapons, and armor. And you guys now might be, some of you might know why I'm doing this, and some of you might not know. Because, like I said, in the castle, Bel has a blacksmith, although he has nobody to really make weapons for him. And so, what better way to get more, basically, how do you say it, both miners and blacksmiths than dwarves? And well, he uses 50 of his, that is, all of his orc bowmen, to basically start firing at them. Although he's able to kill 7 of the dwarves, although the rest of them have much thicker armor. So he uses death magic on about, let's say, a group of 6 of them at the back. With now, there's only... wait, I said that there was 13 of them, so 6 and 7 of them left. 7 dwarves are left. And that's when he simply tells 30 of his orc warriors to basically deal with them. And as soon as they do that, Bel immediately uses his necromancy and basically makes 20 undead dwarves. And so he sends 5 of the dwarves to help out the goal, that is, no. First he orders because he also has skeleton horses and also skeleton wolves. Or, well, no, skeleton wargs, which are specifically used for orcs. so that the orcs can ride them. Yes, so anyways, he makes the horses drive the carts, and he basically, out of the 120 basically orc warriors he has, I'm gonna say that he kills 20 wargs. So now he makes out of the one, he has 100 orc warriors, and then he has 20 warg riders, which are basically, how do you say it, they're orcs which have a bit more armor and have double axes, so yeah. And well, that's when all of them basically head to the castle. Just a minute, guys. Okay, so I left off at, let's see where. Alright, I left off just as Bell killed the dwarven caravan and basically raised the dwarves and took all of their raw materials and all that other crap. So, let's say that currently they're headed for the castle until they basically see something. They see a group of adventurers, which all of them ranging from level 2 to level 3. So yeah, there's about, let's say, 14 of them. And well, let's say that 3 of them are level 3s, 1 of them is a level 4, and the other 9 are level 2s. And let's just say that they're currently fighting against... right. A wyvern. A wyvern is basically a smaller version of a dragon, except like it is in a dragon. Instead of having 4 limbs and 2 wings, it has 2 limbs and 2 wings. So yeah, let's just say that they're fighting against that. Actually no, I'm gonna make it that they're fighting against a smaller dragon. I think that you guys might know what I'm going to be doing here. So, Bell isn't exactly stupid. Like, he is level, what do you call it? He actually went up to level 3 in the last battle, and he's close to getting up to level 4. With his magic stat being basically in the triple S. So yeah, his magic is at 1300. And if you were to also take the other stats he had from the other 2 levels, which get stacked up on each level, his magic stats is basically 6000 and something, yeah. And all of his other skills are also pretty good. For being in a level 3, he has a lot more stats than any average one. And well, that's when he noticed something. He notices 2 dark sorcerers, along with 5 dark paladins basically just going around. And dark paladins are level 4s. That is, no, this group is gonna be like, there's 4 trainees, so basically squires for the dark paladins. So not quite at the same level of a true dark paladin, but they're still strong, with all of them being like level 3. And then there's the captain, which is the level 4, along with the 2 sorcerers, which one of them is an apprentice, so he's level 2, while the other one is a master, so him being a level 4. Needless to say, when they see basically an army of over 100 or so orcs, 20 dwarves of basically an army of 200, that being like 120 orc, 170 orcs, and then 20 basically dwarves. So all of them basically prepare their weapons until Bell basically just jumps in front of them. So anyways, and Bell shows them the badge he has, or well, not the badge, more like the, how do you call it again? Pendant, which has the, how do you call it? The symbol of the Evilist organization. And well, all of them just breathe a sigh of relief, because fighting against 200 monsters, with 180 of them being high-leveled orcs and 20 of them being dwarves, yeah, they really weren't gonna be winning that one. But Bell simply asks them to help him take out an adventurer group of basically 13 adventurers, with one of them being a level 4. And needless to say, all of them accept it, especially the sorcerer, because he actually wanted his apprentice, which could actually use death magic, so he wanted to help him out. And also this group of basically humans, and also one of the Dark Paladins is, what you call it, an Azino lizard man. So yeah. So basically they want to go ahead and help him out. So out of nowhere, the adventurers just see a volley of arrows hit them from behind. Three of the adventurers go down, while the magician, that being, or well, actually, no, a mage, uses her basically ward spells to make a shield behind them. That's when they see five dark paladins, two sorcerers, dark sorcerers, Bell, along with 100 orcs. Orc warriors, that is. So basically, they're stuck in between an extremely pissed off dragon, which now they can't kill because they lost three of their adventurer comrades. Well, that is like they can kill him, but the problem is that there's also an entire other army right behind them. So they take the less approachable option, which is running away. And well, the dragon basically swoops in with its tail and is able to kill two of the level 2 adventurers. The level 3 mage, basically, along with the level 4 captain, which was the leader of them, along with the other ones, starts running away in the other direction. With the dragon doesn't give chase because, well, one of its wings is wounded, so it can't fly properly. And well, that's when Bell simply says to the Dark Paladins and the Dark Sorcerers to go ahead and kill the remaining adventurers. And also with them he sends about 30 of his Orc warriors and 20 Orc riders, all 20 of his Warg riders. So, yeah. While he alone basically goes ahead and deals with the dragon. Well, with the help of his 50 Orc bowmen and the rest of his Orcs. So, yeah. Bell he tells the Orc bowman to just start shooting at the dragon, which weakens it even more. Then he basically gets his orcs, undead Orc warriors, to go ahead and try to kill him. And well, they do succeed, well, somewhat. Like, they don't kill him, but they're like able to break off one of his wings. So yeah. Although at that point the dragon starts using his flames, so he kills about like 20 Orc warriors. And at that point, Bell is the one who steps up. The dragon goes ahead and burns him, but that's when Bell counters using his currently level 4 dark magic to basically create his own flames, that being dark magic fire, or appropriately called hellfire, which is a bit stronger than the regular fire, or well, actually no. The dragon's isn't normal fire, it's dragon fire. And well, dragon fire is definitely stronger than hellfire, but the dragon is literally on his, well, he's on his last minutes of life. So yeah, he doesn't have really that much magic inside of him, because he's been fighting the adventurers for like several hours now. So Bell overpowers him, and then Bell goes for the finishing blow, until something else happens, because that dragon, it was a she. That dragon's mate arrives. That being a dragon double the size of, well, the female dragon, which basically yanks Bell with like his tail. So yeah. Bell is in a bit of a bad situation. He orders his Orc bowmen to start shooting at the new dragon, and then he also orders his dwarves to basically, that is, heavy dwarven warriors, which he has like 10 of them. The other 10 were like blacksmiths and miners. So he orders the 10 of the, basically, the heavily armored dwarves, which have like runes on their armor, protecting them from like fire and all that crap. Basically goes ahead and tries to attack the dragon as well, which they mildly succeed. They're able to like, one lucky Orc bowman is able to like shoot the one on the dragon's eyes out. So yeah, while the 20 dwarves are able, while the 10 Orc, basically not Orc but dwarven heavy warriors are able to, how do you say it? They're able to basically throw multiple of their axes and at the dragon's wings. So yeah, now that dragon also can fly properly. And at that point, the two sorcerers, dark sorcerers, returned, because they had killed all the adventurers except the level 4 captain, which is currently being dealt with by the Dark Paladins and the other Warg Riders and the Orcs. That is, no, the level 4 adventurer but captain is currently dealing with the 5 Dark Paladins, and the other Orc Warriors and Warg Riders basically return to fight with Bell. So yeah. Now at this point, Bell gets a bit frustrated, so he uses he combines his death and black magic to basically create an how do you call it? Dark energy spear, or well, dark lightning spear, and he basically shoves it right. Basically, the female dragon, which was the currently most wounded, he basically uses it to pierce her throat, and well, she dies. And after that, what happens? Bell uses his necromancy magic to, well, do this. He basically revives her. Although the dragon, she isn't controlled by Bell, because Bell forgot something. All 500 of his army slots were basically filled. But well, that still worked with him because the dragon, which basically went against its highest threat, which was the other dragon. So yeah. As they basically fought, Bell told all of his orcs to basically go back and to get out of the, the danger zone. And well, eventually the male dragon is able to kill his now undead partner. And at that point, Bell basically, well, actually no, since Bell lost quite a few of his orcs. So he lost I think 30 orcs. Let's just say that he wasn't able to control the dragon, because actually no, it's he was able to control the dragon, but he didn't want to. So he made it into a monster. And well, after that, the male dragon was injured heavily. And so Bell used 5 of those black lightning spears and just shoved it right up. And basically shot them at the male dragon, with the male dragon basically collapsing to the ground, dead. And that's when Bell uses his necromancy to revive the dead dragon. And so yeah, now Bell has a dragon in his arsenal as well. And well, because of what he did to the dragon, do you guys see the magic which is currently in this skeleton dragon's basically stomach area? So Bell uses his curse magic and starts to corrupt it. So instead of the dragon currently being able to use his dragon fire, he's now able to use something else, that being black lightning. And also, whenever that black lightning comes in contact with basically any type of armor, it basically slowly begins to, degrade. Melt. So yeah. He basically created a dragon which was specifically made to go up against heavily armored units or foes. And well, after that, the 2 sorcerers are mighty impressed by what Bell just did. He has his own army and now he also has a dragon. Oh right, and also forgot to say, Bell takes the dragon, the undead dragon's basically monster core, or well not, because dragons, they don't have magical crystals in them, they have magical cores, which are basically several times more powerful than any regular magic crystal. So now Bell has a decision to make. Does he absorb the magical, core of the dragon to basically get up a new level? So he's gonna be going to level 4. Or does he put it into his staff, using the current cores which are on his staff to absorb them? And well, Bell does just that. He puts the dragon core, basically starts to, compact it into in a shape of basically in a crystal, like the extremely sharp pointy crystals which are extremely long. So he basically uses it like that, and then he squishes it again to make basically in a crystal which is somewhat close to diamond shape, except it doesn't have like the wide area like a diamond. It's extremely compact. And well, he uses the other monster cores, that is the monster crystals, to basically level up. So he doesn't have as much power as he would have had if he used the dragon core, but still, he went up another level, meaning that now everything leveled up, along with one thing. His necromancy also leveled up because he was able to not summon one dragon, but two undead dragons. So yeah, now he also gained another what you call it, title, that being of Dragon Tamer, or well, Undead Dragon Tamer. So yeah, that basically gives him extra, what you say, basically that alerts some of that is no, it doesn't alert any of the gods, but the gods, well, how do I say this? Some of the gods are looking at... Actually, no, fuck it. Just forget everything that I said. But he does still get like the, what they call it, the title of the Undead Dragon Tamer. So, yeah. And well, because of that, his Necromancer skill also levels up. So now he can have up to... It's a massive upgrade. From 500 troops, undead troops, now he can basically make 5,000 of them, or command them. And so, in the next few months, he makes his way back to his castle, because, well, he took quite a large detour trying to get to a trade route with basically dwarves. And while he was near that trade route, he also got killed about, let's say, a further 1,000 orcs, and a further 300 dwarves, which he basically made into his, well, putting them in his army. And he also raided some human caravans, and also some human guard patrols, and some knights and lords who were just getting on their way. So basically, when he first took over that castle, he had like 3,200 gold coins, because he raided the trade routes with the dwarves, humans. Well, now that number was bumped up to him having over 27,000 gold, along with basically jewels, diamonds, and also a lot of steel and iron, which he was going to be using to make armor and weapons. Sorry about that, guys, but anyways, I think that I left off by saying that Bell has, well, now a bunch of iron and steel, which is going to be using it to make weapons and armor for all of his troops. And well, anyways, as he comes back to his castle, he finds out that several adventurers actually tried to take it over, but all those adventurers, well, like, to try and attack his castle, but well... Okay, sorry about that, guys, my mother came into the room yet again. So, basically, I left off with Bell's army currently having, I think I said that he currently has 1,300 orcs, 300 or so dwarves, and then he also has 1,000 humans, not being like undead soldiers. And now let's rank them all, shall we? So, basically, the Orc Warriors, he has the most of them. He has 700, he has 800 Orc Warriors, 180 Warg Riders, and then he also has like 400 Orc Crossbowmen, which, well, actually no, he has 100 Orc Crossbowmen, and a further 300 Orc Bowmen. And all of the dwarves, basically 100 of them are like warrior dwarves, which are like the heavy armor and like, so yeah. And the other 200 or so, that being like 260 dwarves, are either, actually no, 200 of those dwarves are miners and 60 of them are blacksmiths. So yeah, Bell puts all of those dwarves, the 60 blacksmiths, to start making armor. And well, in that time Bell also corrupts a further 100 of the golems, of... Actually, no, he corrupts 80 smaller golems and then 20 of the larger ones. So yeah, all of them then basically start destroying, that is mining mine shafts and all of that to get even more iron and just basically raw minerals. And well, now for Bel's human army, he has about, let's say, out of the 2,000 or so he has, let's say that he has currently 24 Dark Paladins, 100 High Paladins, 200 of the regular Paladins, 300 Knights, with basically 200 of them being on horseback, with all the Paladins also being on horseback, except the, what you call them, Dark Paladins. The Dark Paladins are riding wyverns into battle, those being like the dragons, which have they're like smaller dragons, which have 2 limbs and 2 wings. So, yeah, Bel's army is rather large. Oh crap, I also forgot. He has like 200. Wait, no, fuck. He has 200 knights, 300 knights. 200 of them are on horseback, while the other 100 are basically on foot. And then he has a further, basically, 1,000 skeleton or undead men-at-arms. So, yeah. Oh, wait. And after that, he has 100 basically undead crossbowmen, and then a further 200 undead bowmen. And well, that castle has become basically like his main base of operations. And well, he uses the orcs and the other... He basically uses his orc warriors and starts to, well, get them armored up. So yeah, and when I say armored up, I mean like, I said this in like the last comment, in like in my first video. One of the comments was for me to give basically the orcs, like, what do you call it? Like from the Lord of the Rings, like Uruk-hai armor. So I thought that was a cool idea, and well, yeah. The orcs are now basically... wait, grab. Sorry guys. Okay, so I think that I left off with like saying that my part 0 of the what the Bell was a necromancer, some guy, or I forgot his name, sorry about that. If he's watching this video, sorry about that. He basically made then a comment which said that what if I gave the orcs the, what do you call it, the Uruk-hai armor from Lord of the Rings, which is basically like extremely thick and heavy armor. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. And also all of the orc crossbowmen are going to have basically heavy armor as well, along with the bowmen. Actually no, the bowmen, let's say that like all of them are also riding wargs. So it's like cavalry archers, well, warg archers. So basically Bel's army is currently about, yeah, 3,700 strong. He can have a further 1,300. And well, Bel's orc army, that's like his main attacking force, while the other, like the knights and all that, are more like to defend the castle and his land. And well, that's not all, because in all that time getting all of them, he was also able to go to level 5. So yeah, Bel is now level 5, and he has a lot of different stuff to do. That is, what you call it, crap, what did I want to say? Sorry about that, guys. Actually, you know what, no, I didn't talk about Bel's sister in quite a while, so we're gonna go to Bel's sister Alice now. So, Alice became a commander of an entire, basically, battalion of Dark Paladins. So, yeah. And also, Evilus as an organization basically grew. Now they have like 20,000 members. After the first they had like 3,000 to 5,000, now they have like 20,000. So yeah, now Bel's sister Alice is in an extremely high position in Evilus. with her having an entire several battalions of like Dark Paladins under her. And also her current level is level 6. So yeah. And well, let's just say that Evilus has multiple other plans, with one of them being... Okay, so it's talking about how... Okay, so when I left off, I think that I said that... What do you call it? That Belt's sister Alice had about 5 whole battalions of Dark Paladins under her command. And like, I'm not sure how one battalion is like in real life. But let's say like each battalion here has like 50 Dark Paladins. So currently she has like 250 of them under her command. And if some of you guys are wondering, yes, Belle's army is still more powerful than Alice's army. Because simply putting it, Belle has wyverns and a motherfucking dragon. So yeah. And also that dragon like is a perfect counter to the Dark Paladins who wear heavy, extremely heavy armor. Basically going up against Belle, who, well, his dragon's main, basically, what do you call it? His dragon's main thing is that he can basically do dark lightning, which melts armor. And well, anyways, let's say that like let's say that the Evilist organization has like a council of 12. Let's say that like one of the members of that council is, well, one is Belle's master, former master, that being the Dark Sorcerer, which is currently level 6. So yeah, one of the most powerful sorcerers is currently alive. And then you also have Alice's teacher, that being the Dragonoid, who's currently basically, even though she is a monster and a Xeno, her level would be equivalent to that of a level 7 adventurer. So yeah. And also they're gonna be like bumping up the numbers. So let's say that while Belle was getting all that stuff, that like 10 years had passed. With Odin and the rest of basically the gods now acknowledging the existence of Evilus, that being their organization. And well, they start making countermeasures to basically ensure that they can't do anything. One of those countermeasures being even more paladins and a new type of, well, holy group, the Inquisitors. With them basically going to villages and... Crap, sorry guys. So, I left off with talking about with the gods making the Inquisitors, I believe. Or well, like the new group, the new holy group, the Inquisitors. So yeah, they worked directly under the gods. So yeah, they were sent into different towns, cities, villages, which were thought to have Evilus presence. And well, Belle's castle, and well, currently Belle was level 4, if any of you guys are wondering. There is no currently Belle in the like last 10 years, when like Belle was making his army and all that crap. In the first 2 years, he was able to achieve level 4. But wait, shit, no. In the first 2 years, well, no, in the first 4 years, he was able to achieve level 5. So, yeah. And well, in the last 6 years, he was getting closer and closer to level 6. So, yeah. Although basically his undead army is extremely large, having like thousands. Just like I said, he has 3,500 undead soldiers as his army. And he no longer has any militia nor guardsmen, so basically his entire army is basically the equivalent of level 2 adventurers or above. So yeah, it's basically an elite army. But I mean, like, so is Alice's, Belle's sister, since like she has 250 level 4 Dark Paladins. While Belle's force basically consists like this. He has 2,000 level 2s. I think, like I said, that he has 300 knights. and like the War Riders. So he has like 2000 level 2s, 800 level 3s, and then he has a further 100 or so in like being like level 4s. That being like his Dark Paladins, and then like Orc Warrior Champions, and like who else? And also some of his higher tier golems, that being like the large ones, which has a free story building. So yeah. And well, eventually, a group of inquisitors just stumbles upon one of Bel's villages, because he currently controls an entire province, or like half of the province, like the kingdom of the Odin. And the only reason why Odin hasn't figured it out yet, or wasn't able to find him, was mainly because of the plague, which might even been the work of Bel. And by that I mean it was work of Bel, since Bel used his knowledge of alchemy and also his curse magic to basically create the plague, or something close to it. He basically like turned all of the people he touched into zombies. And so basically he made the first 4 provinces around him were all filled with like zombies. So yeah, the undead monsters, which then like adventurers had to clear along with the others. And well, just as that was going on, let's just say that, what do you call them? The paladins, inquisitors, guardsmen, and also knights and lords of the kingdom basically summed up in an army of 8,000 soldiers and went ahead to basically start clearing out the zombies from that area, or the undead. And well, that's when one of the scouting parties, which had like 20 inquisitors, 30 high paladins, and like 15 priests, just stumbles upon a castle. And they see, and well, not a castle, more like a fucking fortress. Because in those 10 years, Bel was continuously pouring tens of thousands of gold into making his castle look more like a fucking city. And well, you would think that, but no. Because every single building there wasn't used by the undead. It was either used as basically holding cells to interrogate paladins, adventurers, and all of that crap, for Bel to experiment on them, or they were one of the 26 blacksmith workshops which Bel had in the city. Just like I said, those dwarves were working every single fucking day. They didn't need sleep, food, nor water. They were just making armor for his army every single day. And well, there was basically a palace. And that was currently where Bel was, along with the rest of his, how do you call it? I think I said he had like 24 Dark Paladins. I'm gonna bump that up to have like 50 of them. And then his first ever High Paladin he killed, being this guy right here. So, anyways, currently he's wearing this type of armor, along with that amethyst gem, which he has on his helmet. That's an accursed gem, which any single time somebody tries to use, also one more thing. He's currently level 6, so yeah. So basically, the thing that the gem does is making a unholy or well cursed barrier around him, so holy magic doesn't work on him at all, unless it's like unless one of the 3 cardinals or the Pope of the Fate, which basically Odin's fate, uses holy magic on him. Because the way that crystal gem works is any holy magic which is lower than level 6 or level 6 doesn't work at him. So yeah, they either need to be a level 7 or above to holy magic to even have an effect on him. And then, even after all of that, his armor has different types of inscriptions and runes on it, basically making it even more resistant to holy magic. And then there's also the type of his blades. Like, you only see like one sword in this picture, he has 2 of them. So, yeah. Once, both of those swords are basically like magic swords, which were created by one of the greatest dwarven blacksmiths. Which you might be asking, does Bell have that dwarven blacksmith? No, of course not. If that blacksmith was to go in a caravan, he would have been followed by like 5,000 dwarven mercenaries, guardsmen, and then also probably like several level 4 adventurers. So, yeah. He got those swords from a caravan which was supposed to head to one of the main, to basically Odin's kingdom. That being the kingdom which he is the head god of. And well, Bell just so happened to be there along with some of his orcs. Which, just like I said, his orcs have extremely heavy armor. Basically the only way to kill them is, well, the only way to kill them is if you either get them in the neck, in between their eyes, or in between their arms, where the plates don't extend so well. Everywhere else was basically an ironclad. They were basically living walking tanks, because every single one of those armors was enchanted. Because if I fail to mention, Bell also had like 120 of his own like dark sorcerers, which were like level 2s or 3s. And well, all of them were simply helping him out with enchanting the armor and the weapons. So, yeah. And Bell was the one who personally did the enchantments and runes on this armor. Like every single one of his dark paladins basically has the same armor as you guys see here. So, yeah. Except they don't have sights. All of them have scythes. I think that's how you call them. All of them have what's it called? They have long swords, which are like enchanted with like curse and dark magic. So, yeah. That's basically how the Dark Paladins look like. Although this is in a female version, and a male version looks like much bulkier. Basically, yeah. So, anyways. But Bell has also made something else. He figured out how to teach, well, actually no, he was writing a book about necromancy. And that book is the one you guys currently see like here, in this picture. Like, right here. That's the book of necromancy which he has. And well, he hasn't been able to fully make it. And well, the Inquisitors and the Paladins which were outside of there also see his dragon. Which, because Bell was continuously basically giving it magical crystal cores, that dragon is now the size of basically a 9-story building. So, yeah, it's not exactly fucking small. And that's when all of them basically go back to their lord and say what happened. Now, the most powerful paladin of basically that entire kingdom, he's a level 9 class adventurer. So yeah, and then he also has the other highest paladin, which is basically 1 female and 2 males. And all of them, the 3 of them, are level 7 adventurers, or at that power level. Then he also has several priests, high priests, and well, when they heard what happened, they also went ahead and got the Pope. And the Pope had several blessings which Odin gave him, including basically a pure gold staff, which was basically able to cast extremely powerful holy magic. So yeah, now they were going to be going up against, and well, the Bell's fortress. Well, let's say that like in that time, Bell was able to see the Inquisitors because of the priest's holy powers. He was able to feel them all the way from his basically palace. And so he knows that like in the next year they're going to attack him because of the spies which Evil's organization has in the capital. And well, you guys might be wondering what he does. Basically, he starts killing everything. Basically, the nearest villages and towns which are like closest to him. He simply kills all of the inhabitants and makes them into his undead army. Which, by the way, currently the amount of soldiers he can have is 50,000. because that's just what happened. He kept experimenting, and well, his magical power had risen to basically the same as his master, even though, actually no, even more than his master, even though his master was level 6. Basically, how do I say this? The greatest mage in the entirety of the world was basically part of the Imperium, which is, and the Imperium's head god was Ares. And basically, that mage was a level 9, so yeah. He was a level 9 mage, and basically he had 27,000 stat points in magic. Bell has 26,000 points in magic. So yeah, he's rather powerful. And also, if any of you guys are wondering, the Pope is basically a level 7 adventurer, although he focuses in basically area of effect, how do you say it, boosts. So yeah, he's able to boost his fellow, well, how do you call it? He's able to boost his soldiers, paladins with like holy magic and all that crap. That is his holy powers, not magic. And well, as that was going on, as the next, we basically jump back to Bell. Bell calls for reinforcements from the evilest organization, and reinforcements arrive in the form of 100 dark paladins, 5,000 mercenaries, and 50 dark sorcerers, all of them being level 4. And well, Bell welcomes them. And that's when they see what, basically, this is the first time any of them even saw Bell's fortress. And they were impressed because, well, the evilest organization had like a lot of different holds in like a lot of different kingdoms, confederations, empires, and all that crap. But this was the only fortress which they technically had, because they were still far too small and couldn't defend themselves against like a large force. And basically, the 5,000 mercenaries, along with the dark paladins and the sorcerers, came in extremely handy, because Bell basically placed the mercenaries into 2 different groups, each one being like 2,500, along with the dark paladins and sorcerers. Actually no, the sorcerers and the dark paladins he kept in his main fortress. So yeah, and that's when he started raising the dead. So basically, he went into the different types of dungeons, like the smaller dungeons, basically killing orcs, killing any single monster he saw, just like raising it from the dead. So he had like gigantic lizards, he had what you call it, giants, has the undead, basically trolls, wyverns, a couple of smaller dragons, which were like 1 to 2 stories high, and they were like the equivalent of a level 7 adventurer, so they were like still pretty strong. And well, that's when he basically got upped his even more, because all the towns he killed, he basically had all of the gods and humans turned into his skeleton army. And so, as all that went on, Bell currently had a force of 55,000 troops, 5,000 mercenaries, 26,000 orcs, like 100 or so giants, with the giants being a bit shorter than like his, what do you call it, his dragon. Like his own dragon was like 9 stories tall and was the equivalent of a level 12 adventurer. So yeah. And some of you guys might be wondering how Bell can have a level 12, well, basically on a dragon, which is just as powerful as a level 12 adventurer, while he himself is almost at level 6, at level adventurer. Well, you guys still have to know this, because like Bell, his Necromancer skill is level 8 currently, even though he's a level 5 at the same level as level 5 adventurer. He's basically like Bell, in that fact being that his stats aren't at S anymore. They're currently at R rank, which basically, like SR, so yeah. R is basically when each one of his stat points is over 5,000. So, yeah. Basically, Bell's stats are currently extremely powerful. Like he's on par with a level 8 adventurer. That being a level 8 adventurer which uses a sword or shield. So even if he's fighting like in close quarters, he's still one of the most powerful guys you could be fighting against. And then in his magic, well, the only people who are able to even put up a fight against him would be the greatest sorcerer and all of the other guys. Basically being the most powerful magic users. And well, just a minute, guys. Okay, so sorry about skipping that many times, guys. But, well, anyways, Bell would be considered to be one of the most strongest, basically, beings currently in the mortal world. Although he isn't mortal, he's immortal simply because of his undead features. And if you guys are like wondering what his current, basically, what rank he currently is, he's basically an undead, how do you call it, an undead emperor. Since you can have up to 50,000 soldiers. If he was to enter basically the Lich, or a High Lich, or an Elder Lich, basically any type of Lich can have an infinite amount of soldiers, undead soldiers that is. So yeah, and well, the good army, that being the humans and the dwarves, which have teamed up for this battle, have about 35,000 soldiers. So yeah. And that's when the next tier comes, with Bell facing up against, well, Bell's army currently facing up against 35,000 soldiers of the humans and the dwarves. And the battle begins. The basically the orcs which have heavy armor, they're the first to charge in. They rip through the basically men-at-arms, which the humans had basically positioned in the front lines. But that's when the paladins enter the fray, which are a lot stronger than them and are actually able to kill quite a few orcs. And well, that's when the priests, high priests, and basically the pope all started doing different types of using holy powers. Basically, they kill hundreds upon hundreds of the undead in each way. With the Pope at one point even being able to kill in a whole column of at least 1,000 or so orc warriors. So yeah, but then that's when Bell uses his Dark Paladins, which with all of them riding on top of either Wyverns. So yeah, that's about, I think I said, that's 180 Dark Paladins. All of them riding on top of Wyverns, except one. That being the level 6 Dark Paladin, which is riding on top of a small dragon. And well, if any of you guys are currently wondering, basically the battle looks like this. Bell's army is, well, this right here. As you can see, a bunch of undead, along with basically some of them having magical swords. That being like the Dark Paladins and all of that. And they're fighting up against this. The human and dwarven armies. And well, as all that is currently going on, basically what happens is the undead army, that being these guys right here, are slowly but surely pushing in to the basically the kingdom's forces, being the Odin's forces. And well, that's when the champion of well, the greatest paladin which currently lives, goes ahead and basically throws himself into the fray. He starts killing hundreds upon hundreds of the undead. Although that's when he is met with Bell's own champion, that being his first Dark Paladin. And also, if you guys are wondering, I'm gonna put a bit of a plot twist in here. So Bell's greatest Dark Paladin, he's wearing that armor, but he's also wearing a pendant, which he was wearing even after he died, because, well, Bell just simply said that the pendant was enchanted to basically give his user extra defense and strength. So he was like, meh, he can have it, I don't care. And well, that pendant was basically had the symbol of a lion. That was like the most powerful noble house in the kingdom. And well, the champion of Odin was the older brother of basically Bel's champion. So yeah. And well, simply as that was going on, Bel's champion, that being the most powerful dark paladin, went ahead and fought against the most powerful paladin in the kingdom. And well, their battle was rather glorious because of the armor and the swords which basically he had. And if any of you guys are wondering how the champion paladin of the kingdom looks like, this is him right here. So yeah. And well, as Olaf was going on, they begin to fight. With each sword, they like strike, sending shockwaves like killing dozens of undead and dozens of mercenaries, or well, men-at-arms. And well, speaking of the mercenaries, they're basically all of them are like almost 3,000 of them already died. And well, if you guys are wondering, the battle has dragged on for like several hours now. The undead lost like 26,000 troops, including like most of the like basically they lost almost all of their orcs, some of their giants, quite a few dark paladins. They started off with like 200 or so. Now they're at 90 or so. But the humans also lost quite a few troops. They started with like 35,000 and like 7,000 wolves. Now there is 11,000 humans and 2,000 wolves. And just as Bel issues for one last massive push, his dragon basically gets shot by a magical missile. And well, when he looks, and that's when he basically hears a war horn. When he looks to the left side of him, of the battlefield, he sees this. He basically sees the High Queen of the High Elves, along with like 20,000 of her warriors. And now at this point, because the elves, they can like live for hundreds upon hundreds of years. So yeah, now Bel is fighting against 3 different armies. So yes, I'm going to be calling this the Battle of the 4 Armies. Yes. I think that's a Lord of the Rings reference, or it might not be. You guys decide. But basically, the High Elves also just swarm in. So basically, now there's like 33,000 soldiers of like the Alliance fighting against 32,000 undead, which Bel has. And well, slowly but surely, Bel notices something. He's beginning to lose. He uses his dragon to basically cause massive damage to the elves, with like basically killing 1,000 or so of them in like his first volley. But that's when he hears something. He lost connection to his champion, because the paladin, right here, was able to kill him. And now what happens next? This champion paladin goes after Bel. The High Queen of the Elves, or the High Elves, also goes up against Bel, along with all of the High Priests and the Pope chanting holy magic. And well, every single strike hits. Bel's dragon falls to the ground. It had been completely and utterly destroyed, with its magical core being pierced by both the Paladin and the High Queen of Elves, which both of them are level 9. So yeah, level 9 adventurers that being. While all of the priest's holy magic was able to dispel the curses which the Bel had put on the dragon. So Bel uses his death, curse and dark magic all in unison. Basically, he kills the two male paladins, which are like level 7, and he enrages the champion paladin, which then basically goes ahead and fights him. With weirdly enough, the champion paladin realizing something. Bel is extremely proficient at using his scythe, which is like basically his melee weapon. So yeah, as all that was going on, the queen also jumps in, and although Bell is extremely strong, he's at the level of like a level 9 adventurer, even though he's level 5 currently. So he can't go up against 2 level 9 adventurers, especially the High Queen of Elves, which had specifically been blessed by her own god, that being like one of the elven gods, or like, basically, how do you call it? It's like the high wizard of the elves is like considered their god, so he blessed her, the high queen and all that, and all of them, the soldiers. So yeah, and eventually, with one final push, Bell gets struck down. Although before he can completely die, Bell transfers basically his soul. Well, he teleports his magical orb to, well, what do you call it? The catacombs which his golems had made. And well, in those catacombs, like, his undead army is basically almost completely wiped out. Except 500 of them. Those 500 being the golems, which he had specifically left to guard his tomb. And well, Bell had been defeated. And well, although Evilus is still good and well, although they did lose the 100 or so of their Dark Paladins, which they had sent to Bell, along with most of their level 4 sorcerers. Now they only had level 3s or level 5s. So, yeah. Although it was a costly victory, because the humans did lose quite a lot. And well, as the final plan which Bell had, they see something. The entire fortress basically blows up. Basically all of except one thing. One of the sorcerers basically survives. And he took guess what? The Necronomicon, the book about necromancy and other basically dark magic which Bell had created. He took it and basically gave it to Bell's former master. And well, Bell's master then simply created a totally new type of, well, wing or order. The Necromancer order, which was basically dedicated to basically learning how to use necromancy and all of that other crap. And eventually, let's say that Bell is stuck in there, like, gaining back his strength for the next couple of thousand of years. And well, now we're basically go off 2 years from the start of the anime. So, most of those guys already died. The Dragonoid is dead, along with the other ones. Basically, there's a new Council of 12. But there's only one thing which is weird. Because Alice, due to their new god, that being the god of death, actually not the god of death, let's just say that the Evilus organization, when Alice, Bell's sister, was like 50 years old, and well, still fighting, being one of the highest leveled Dark Paladins, and also a member of the Evilus Council, let's just say that she had gained immortality by basically gaining a god's favor, the main god of Evilus. And there was 12 of them. By each god had one representative of like the mortals on the table, which is like, how do you call it? Basically, one member of the council was a representative of one of the 12 gods, with Alice being the second highest ranked one. Although there was just one spot was missing. The Order of the Necromancers, because none of them wanted to take it. They were waiting for their champion to finally arise. And well, in that one province, several thousand kilometers away from Aurorial. And a gigantic burst of cursed and black magic spills, just destroys everything around it, including most of Bel's golems. But that's when you just see it. In a hand, and well, if you guys are wondering, currently Bel's size, because he was basically asleep for 3,000 or so years, gathering magical energy. Yeah, Bel finally became a lich. Now he can have an infinite amount of undead at his disposal. And well, Bel, basically this happened. He doesn't have legs anymore. He now only floats everywhere, although and well, basically, Bel doesn't look like this anymore. Well, Bel has currently become the most powerful magic user in basically the entire mortal world. He has so much magical energy as a lich that some would even dare say to call him a minor god. And well, he's immortal. He has enough magical power to even be able to kill gods. So, yeah. Anyways, this is felt by almost every single god, that something truly vile and evil had just resurfaced. And well, Odin knew this feeling. He knew who it was. And well, he immediately sent forwards basically tens of thousands of soldiers to go to that province, which was once the battleground of the Battle of the Four Armies, which has now become a great part of history. One of the few records of like 4,000 years ago, in the ancient times, which is clearly known. That being that the undead emperor, well, the one who they called the undead emperor, although he was just merely an extremely powerful necromancer, and an undead necromancer being Bel, raised an army of 55,000 undead. And well, that is 50,000 undead and 5,000 mercenaries to fight against the alliance of the humans, elves, and dwarves, with Bel finally being killed by the champion of the paladins, that being the High Paladin, or well, how do you call? I'm just gonna call him Orion. Yes, High Paladin Orion, the High Queen of the Elves, Andromeda, although she currently died, although because the Paladin was immortal, he's still alive, being one of the most powerful adventurers currently to ever basically exist. So, yeah. And, well, the High Queen was replaced by the currently High Queen of the Elves, of the High Elves, is basically the great granddaughter of, well, you know, the previous High Queen. And she's also one of the most powerful magic users currently to date. Although she is nowhere near Bel's level, because he's now a lich. His usage of death magic is basically, he can create a plague which can destroy entire cities in a matter of days. Literally, killing an entire, basically a large village is nothing to him. He just uses one of his spells and everyone is dead. So yeah, Bel is pretty powerful after being asleep for 3,000 years. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day. And by the way, because tomorrow I'm going to be making more of the videos for that is what if Gaster was, what if Deku was Gaster, what if Deku was a part of the Black Ops, and what if Bel was a Spartan Knight. So I hope you guys look forward to that, and well, have a good day.